Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and over the last 10 years or so, perhaps even more, one of the most popular games that has come out of the indie scene is Stardew Valley. And yes, Stardew Valley was created by one single person. Yes, Stardew Valley does kind of look like it belongs in the 90s, but that's okay. This game itself has proved to be one of the most successful indie games ever created, and there's a reason for that. It's immersive gameplay. Everything about it is relaxing, it's enjoyable, it's fun to play. And today, we're not going to look at the Haunted Chocolatier. We're going to look at 5 games which you can play right now, which are similar to Stardew Valley. Not necessarily exactly like Stardew Valley, but they are similar to its gameplay elements, its style, and everything about it that you probably might enjoy. First up is a game which I think fits very well into games that you would imagine to be much like Stardew Valley, and that is My Time at Portia. Now, the reason that I feel this one fits in very well to something like Stardew Valley is simply because of the farming mechanics. That is the main part of some of this game. However, the main premise of this game is to, well, basically enjoy your time at Portia. So if you could imagine that the town of Portia or the land of Portia is much like the land of Stardew Valley, then that's how this one kind of correlates with itself, and you think, yeah, it is quite like it. So My Time at Portia, the idea is to kind of mingle and do well with the town and build things and create things. So imagine if this area here was your farm in Stardew Valley, and this is Stardew Valley, obviously this is Portia, then this kind of flows much like Stardew Valley. It's not the same style as Stardew Valley, it is like a 3D kind of version of it. But ultimately, yeah, this does remind me a lot of Stardew Valley. Next is a game which I am pretty sure not many of you will have heard of, and that is Time on Frog Island. Now, looking at it, you can probably instantly tell why this does give me Stardew Valley vibes. That's hard to say, Valley vibes. Yeah, but if you look at it, it's kind of cutesy. You basically play as this guy right here. And the idea is you're on an island and you've got to do things, you've got to get places. If you look at the back of it, you can see just how it kind of looks. But there'll be some gameplay on the screen anyway that you can see right now. Some people may say, no, this doesn't remind them of Stardew Valley. But when I was playing through this game, I just got so many Stardew Valley vibes going through it. So that's why I kind of thought, actually, yeah, I do quite like this game. Because I do. I thought it was a really good game. It was very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. Hence why I think it's a lot like Stardew Valley. The next one is Little Dragon's Cafe, or Little Dragon's Cafe, however you want to pronounce it. This one is very cutesy, and again, it is in a 3D kind of style. And basically, you go around, you're in this area, this big, massive land, and you have to go around and you basically run a cafe, much in the same way that you run a farm in Stardew Valley. You have the cafe here, and you've got to basically create meals, and you go out and collect materials and follow the story along and everything and whatever else. Yes, I know in Stardew Valley there isn't necessarily a story that you follow. You know, you could go and marry Abigail one day, or start a new file and then not get married, or you could get married and have kids and whatever else. But this does have a story to follow, and is a lot of fun. It's cutesy. It does remind me a lot of Stardew Valley. Next up is a game which I feel is very similar to Stardew Valley in terms of things like the combat and the visuals. And I've spoken about this one before, Sparklite. There's just something about this game that I absolutely adore. And if I turn it around, hopefully you can see, like if you look there, before I throw some gameplay on the screen, just how much it does kind of remind you of Stardew Valley in terms of the visuals. I do love Sparklite. Like, it's a roguelite game, so that's basically based on the combat, you could say. So if you imagine the combat going into the caves or Skull Cavern in Stardew Valley, and you've got to fight things off and do whatever else, that's basically how Sparklite is. There's not necessarily a farm or a village or a land of any kind that you've got to rebuild necessarily, not to the state of like My Time at Portia or big massive farm that you have in Stardew Valley, but essentially its style, its presentation, everything reminds me a lot of Stardew Valley. The final game we're going to talk about, I have spoken about this before on the channel. I do love this game. It's called Potion Permit. Now, this is the game that reminds me the most of Stardew Valley. If I turn it around, hopefully you'll be able to see before I throw some gameplay on the screen. its visual style, its idea, its premise, and everything about it, its combat, reminds me of Stardew Valley. So how it looks is the whole 2D thing. Potion Permit has a town that you visit, and you've got to get on well with everyone and basically create potions. If they're sick, make them better. The combat, again, very much like Stardew Valley. So the top and bottom of it all is that if you like Stardew Valley, you will most likely enjoy at least one of these games. And if I have to pick one out to say, go and play it, if you like Stardew Valley, go and play it, that would be Potion Permit. However, there are many other games out there that are like Stardew Valley. We're not going to include something like the Haunted Chocolatier because as of making this video, it isn't out yet. But these 5 games, I feel, if you like Stardew Valley, you'll certainly enjoy them. So none of those games are exactly like Stardew Valley, and there's a good reason for that. Any game which is exactly like Stardew Valley is trying to be like it far too much, and in that sense, will fail. I know there are games out there that do take that formula of Stardew Valley and really, really push it, but it's not quite Stardew Valley. And yes, the argument can be made that Stardew Valley is much like something from the past. It's a rip-off of older games, but, that's up to however you feel and however you want to interpret it. But some games that you have seen do have that Stardew Valley vibe in different ways. Not necessarily in looks, not necessarily in gameplay, but one or the other, or a multitude of different ways. There are multiple other games that are just like Stardew Valley, which you can play and enjoy, whether you go on Steam, whether you go on Nintendo, Sony, PlayStation, Microsoft, Xbox, it doesn't really matter. There are multiple games that try to be like Stardew Valley, but unfortunately some do try to be like it more than others, and that's okay. That's okay. Anything that is a direct copy of Stardew Valley will probably be nothing like Stardew Valley, because it's just trying to rip it off. It's trying to ride on that success of being just like Stardew Valley. No problem against that. But then you have something like, well, in this case, My Time at Portia. I feel that that is very much like Stardew Valley, but you wouldn't think it looking at it. But its aspect, its gameplay, its mechanics do feel very Stardew Valley-like. Potion Permit, I feel, is probably the closest to a Stardew Valley rip-off that you can get without being too much like Stardew Valley. Sure, there's no animals to raise in there, you don't have a farm necessarily, you don't do multiple things that you do in Stardew Valley. There isn't as much immersiveness in Potion Permit. However, to me, it genuinely felt like an enjoyable experience if you enjoyed Stardew Valley, which I do. I absolutely love Stardew Valley, and it's a game that I could probably go back to multiple times. So naturally, for someone like me, I would love to find something similar to Stardew Valley, hence why I created this video. So if you've played any of those 5 games that we just talked about, please do let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Let me know if you think they are like Stardew Valley, and if you've got any recommendations for games like Stardew Valley, please put them in the comments below. Let everybody else know what you think and see if they are really worthwhile to people who enjoy Stardew Valley. So until the next video, go and play Stardew Valley and go and play some of those 5 games. I'll see you in the next one.